Hi everyone, welcome to another Friends with Benefits video. In this video, we are going to talk about getting attached and how to avoid being possessive. What does it mean to have a friend with benefits? It means you engage in casual and sexual activities with that person, essentially a casual and sexual relationship. Some people think of friends with benefits as someone you have sex with, but I believe it can be any casual or sexual activity. Sometimes it can just be cuddling or making out. It's up to both or all parties to decide what they want the benefits to be. The levels of intimacy can vary, and benefits can range from hugging to full-on sex. It's however you want the relationship to be. I talk more about the pros and cons in one of my previous videos. So, info card is somewhere. So, what it means to get attached to a friend with benefits. You think about him or her or them a lot. You get sad or upset when they don't respond to you for long periods of time. You need constant reassurance that you are still important to him or her. You get jealous when they hang out with other people. If you do get emotionally attached, there is nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with being attached. Don't resist it, because what you resist persists. Your feelings are natural and valid. You cannot avoid being attached. You are either attached or not. It's kind of like an all or nothing. There might be some exceptions and in-betweens, but it's very rare in my opinion. I mean, ways to stop being attached include limiting contact, but don't you get attached to friends as well? It is okay to have feelings and still engage in friends with benefits activity. Just remember that your friend with benefits does not have to feel the same way you do. You know yourself best. Although it is fine to feel what you feel, what's important are the actions that you take. So, my story of being attached. So, have I gotten attached? Hate to admit it, but yes, and yes. I mean, look at my 3 videos on how I handled rejection. It involved 3 people, which is why I said yes 3 times. Well, actually, I've gotten attached in other cases too, varying levels, of course, but short answer is yes, I have gotten attached. But I have learned, which is why this video exists. For me, the friendship aspect is more important than the benefits aspect. Some friends with benefits have turned into simply just being friends, which is totally fine because feelings were mutual in the sense that we wanted friendship and nothing more. However, for the times when I wanted a relationship with my friend with benefits, my mental health took a toll. And I engage in toxic behaviors, which I am not proud of. I constantly wanted to know what my friend with benefits was doing, what they were up to, and I got really upset if they did not respond back to my texts after long periods of time. Also, as a side note, no one is entitled to anyone's response, so if you choose not to text someone, that's fine. If someone chooses to not text you, that's on them. How I stopped engaging in toxic behaviors was focusing on myself. So I shifted the focus to myself, which was actually rather difficult, especially when I was constantly obsessing over them. Since they were the only thing, or they were always on my mind, it was hard to shift the focus to me, even though I am my number one priority. You yourself are your number one priority. So always take care of yourself. I acknowledged that my feelings were valid and occupied myself with activities I enjoy doing. I let my obsessive thoughts flow while essentially being productive or allowing myself to relax and listen to my favorite music. Remember, just let your feelings, let your thoughts flow. Do not resist it. So as I let my obsessive thoughts flow, the thoughts eventually got weaker and weaker as I focused on myself. Remember that nothing happens overnight. You will not stop obsessing over this person overnight. You cannot go from being attached to not being attached in one night. You will gradually feel less attached once you develop habits into bettering yourself, as opposed to focusing on your friend with benefits all the time or thinking of ways to impress him or her. So what do you do when you get attached? Number 1, accept that your feelings are valid and natural. Friends with benefits is supposed to be a no strings attached sort of thing. But if you get emotionally attached, honor your feelings. Acceptance is the first step to making you feel better. Number 2, Decide whether to tell your friend with benefits that you are attached. You can get attached and not want something more than friends with benefits or friendship. Maybe the attachment or feelings are temporary. Maybe there was some sort of trigger. What are the triggers? If you want something more than friends with benefits, then it is best to communicate this with your partner and then go from there. If the feelings are mutual, then great. No need to worry if feelings are not mutual, and that's usually the case. Decide if you want to continue with the friends with benefits arrangement. Remember that friends with benefits is an arrangement, not a commitment. Again, friends with benefits is an arrangement between two parties. It is not a committed relationship. So do not mix the two up. 3, give yourself space and engage in your hobbies. You need a life outside of your friend with benefits arrangement. For a lot of my past and current friends with benefits, we usually do more than just engage in sexual activity or making out. However, if you go outside of the benefits aspect, then it is very easy to catch feelings. So step away from your friend with benefits, spend time without them, and maybe you got attached because you spent so much time with them. So do things that you love to do that do not involve your friend with benefits. Give yourself the space and time that you need. Which leads into number 4, establishing healthy boundaries for yourself. Remember that your friend with benefits is not your significant other. But if you still want to have fun, it's a good idea to set up rules. Although I have never done this before myself. And make sure that you both come to an agreement. And if you cannot, then maybe friends with benefits is not meant for the both of you. Bottom line is that if you do get attached, that you should establish some mental or emotional boundaries. And know when the cons outweigh the pros of your friend with benefits relationship, and to know when to call it quits. Nothing is ever perfect, but if you end up getting attached and the pros outweigh the cons, continue being friends with benefits, but do whatever is best for you to establish a life outside of your friends with benefits. So what I'm trying to say is, if the pros are higher than the cons, but for some reason you are attached, you can continue with the friend with benefits relationship if it works out for you, but make sure you have healthy boundaries and to take care of your mental health. But definitely get out of the friend with benefits arrangement if the cons outweigh the pros, because why would you want to be in an arrangement that's just worse for you? So just do what is best for you. So establish healthy boundaries. And last but not least, number 5, when you get attached and it just becomes too much, you can quit. You don't have to engage in friends with benefits anymore. You can quit friends with benefits at any time. It's kind of weird because there isn't a formal breakup. When you are attached, you can just walk away if that is better for you. And you do not really have to say anything. No one is entitled to an explanation or obligated to say anything. However, if you choose to continue the friends with benefits activity despite being attached, then do not get possessive or jealous of your friend with benefits. He or she does not belong to you, and they can have as many friends with benefits as they want, just like you can have as many as you want. So what it means to be possessive. By definition, being possessive means demanding someone's total attention and love. You essentially want to have control of your friend with benefits. You want to know what your friend with benefits is doing at every moment. But this is really, really, really toxic behavior and shows how insecure you really are, because you cannot control your friend with benefits. And your friend with benefits is not obligated to report to you. Your friend with benefits is not yours. Remember that friends with benefits is not a commitment. When you go into a friends with benefits arrangement, you are not committed to each other. There are no obligations. So how do you avoid being possessive? Number 1, do not obsess over your friend with benefits. No matter what, your feelings are valid. It is okay to think about your friend with benefits, but you do not need to know what they are doing at all times. Just like they don't need to know what you are doing. Just let your thoughts pass by while occupying yourself. Focus on yourself, do what you love to do, and just let the thoughts flow. Just let them flow. Number 2, do not overthink what they post on social media. I was almost about to say to not engage in their social media at all, but that is very difficult. Just do not constantly check up on them or analyze their stories or posts. Side note, what people post on social media is often a highlight reel. Sure, your friend with benefits might seem like they are having a good time without you, without your company, but you don't know the behind the scenes. Number 3, again, have a life outside of your friend with benefits arrangement. It is easy to get attached to your friend with benefits if you stay the night, hang out with them for more than 24 hours, or even spend multiple days or take a vacation with them. There's a lot of intimacy, and since you're spending so much time with your friend with benefits, you two are pretty much engaging in couple-like activities. There is nothing wrong with that, but spend time by yourself or with family and friends. Number 4, remember that anyone can have multiple friends with benefits. Just like anyone can have many regular friends. So friends with benefits, it's still friends, meaning that they can have more than one, just like how you can have a lot of friends in general. And in general, it is also okay to be jealous and upset. But if this is the case, if you are jealous or upset, then you are better off not knowing if your friend with benefits has other friends with benefits. It is okay to ask and talk about it, but no one is obligated to disclose the amount of friends with benefits they have. They are not obligated to disclose this information if they don't want to. And number 5, you can always leave the friends with benefits arrangement or take a break. Sometimes we don't know what we truly want until we step away. This relates to having a life outside of your friend with benefits arrangement. If you still get sexual desires and urges, even after a good amount of time and space away from your friend with benefits, evaluate what you truly want. Do you simply want to engage in sexual activity, or do you want something more? Have you already confessed your feelings to your friends with benefits? Like, when you're attached, most of the time you want something more, and it's often best, like, if you do want something more, to let them know, because if you get rejected, then you know where you stand, and you know if they just want to have sex or something more, or to simply be friends. At least you know. So if you were rejected by your friend with benefits but want a relationship, then leave the friends with benefits arrangement and get out of there, because the more intimate activities you do, the more you're gonna fall for that person. And it's gonna hurt so much later on or at the end, because your friend with benefits does not have feelings for you. So get out and take care of yourself. Maybe you two can still be friends, but engaging in intimate activities while having romantic feelings is a recipe for disaster. So don't do it. Yes, I am guilty of doing this. And if you realize you want a friendship with sexual activities, like after you take a break from your friend with benefits, then by all means, jump into the friends with benefits activity or the arrangement once again. But remember that friends with benefits is not a committed relationship, and this person is not yours. So when you take a break from this person and you realize you want something more, confess and see where you stand. The other thing that can happen is once you take a break, you realize you just want sexual activity and nothing more, or to just simply be friends, which is fine too. And if you realize that if you just want the friends with benefits only and nothing more, then go back into friends with benefits. Like I mentioned, if the feelings are mutual, then everything is fine. It's only a problem when things are not mutual. And last but not least, number 6, increase your self-confidence and self-esteem. The reason why we get possessive is that we feel insecure and unworthy. I think for any sort of relationship, whether it be casual or committed, you don't necessarily need to have your shit together to get into one. However, directing the focus to yourself, hyping yourself up, and loving yourself will make you less likely to be possessive because the desire to get anyone's validation goes down. All you need is self-validation. So you just need to love yourself. And it's impossible to have high self-confidence and high self-esteem all the time, which is why it takes practice. So stop focusing on what your friend with benefits is doing and continue improving the amazing person you are, because self-improvement is beautiful. So definitely increase your self-confidence and self-esteem, and it does not happen overnight. That's why it takes practice to do so. If you would like some videos, or if you would like me to make a video on how to increase your confidence or self-esteem, let me know. I think I might actually have some videos regarding that. It's been a while, to be honest. And here's a bonus. Where am I with my friends with benefits arrangement, activity, whatever you want to call it? So right now, it's actually almost non-existent on my part, at least as I'm filming this video. Who knows what will happen in the near future? The last time I engaged in Friends with Benefits activity was in March. And while I really haven't had much sexual cravings or urges because I have other things going on, I guess if I have to put a number on it, I essentially have 0 Friends with Benefits right now. Just because we really haven't done anything at the moment. Like, we're just friends and we do not have to constantly be in contact with each other. Just because we are not hanging out at the moment does not mean we will not engage in Friends with Benefits or FWB activity when we do see each other. Just like with friends, we don't need the constant reassurance. Also, things can change as more time goes on. Like, maybe one of us doesn't want to do FWB anymore. And like, do I still want to engage in Friends with Benefits activities? The answer is yes, absolutely. It's really fun. But right now, I currently have other things to do and that I want to focus on. So maybe not at the moment. And more importantly, we need each other's consent. I need their consent if they still want to engage in Friends with Benefits or not. Because remember, feelings have to be mutual. If I want to engage and they don't, then it's not going to happen. And we just have to respect, and I have to respect how they feel. We have to all respect each other. So how does that conversation occur on whether to be on whether to do Friends with Benefits again? Well, usually if the mood is right and if we're like next to each other and we're in the moment, things kind of just happen. It just kind of happens again, like without us having to verbally say it. But sometimes you have to be direct and ask. So whatever works best for you at the time, at the moment, just make sure feelings are mutual. Anyway, that was pretty long, and I hope you enjoyed another Friends with Benefits or FWB chit chat, and that you learned something from this, or that I was at least able to entertain you for a bit. If you have any questions or would like to discuss anything, feel free to drop a comment. If you haven't done so already, remember to like, subscribe. It would mean so much to me. Thank you. As always, the person who is watching this is absolutely amazing. See you in the next one. Bye.